Beneath the dense emerald canopies of Vietnam, concealed within the ancient limestone heart of the Annamite range, lies a subterranean universe entirely severed from the familiar passage of time. This is the doline of Hang Son Doong, the largest cave system on Earth. Here, a colossal collapsed roof has allowed a unique, mist-draped microbiome to flourish in profound, isolated shadows. As the hour reaches 5 in the morning, the cool, muted blue hues of pre-dawn gently filter through the massive sinkhole canopy above. At this microscopic scale, a single droplet of condensation is a heavy reservoir of life, and the damp, translucent blades of cave moss function as an impenetrable, towering forest. Within the damp crevices of the limestone, the nocturnal shift is coming to a close. A tiny troglodytic cave pseudoscorpion, a remarkable arachnid devoid of a stinging tail, relies entirely on highly sensitive sensory hairs known as trichobothria covering its pedipalps. Completely blind, this ancient survivor reads the chemical signatures of the humid air, retreating beneath fallen debris as the morning mist begins to settle. By 5:45, the cave floor begins to stir with the awakening of giants. The giant millipede, a master of the forest floor, uncoils its heavily armored, segmented body from the nutrient-rich soil. Belonging to the class Diplopoda, this vital detritivore possesses an astonishing biological mechanism. Its hundreds of legs move in a hypnotic metachronal rhythm, a synchronized wave that allows it to glide effortlessly over jagged terrain. It begins to consume decaying fungal matter, recycling essential nutrients back into this closed ecosystem. Above it, clinging to a towering stalagmite, a pale cave cricket grooms its extraordinary antennae. In the perpetual twilight of the subterranean jungle, these antennae are vital physical radar systems, mapping the topography of the dark environment. The cricket painstakingly draws each antenna through its mandibles, ensuring that its chemoreceptors are perfectly clean and free from microscopic cave dust. Yet, it must remain exceptionally vigilant, for lurking silently upon a bed of vibrant green moss is the undisputed apex predator of this micro-realm, the giant huntsman spider. As 7:15 approaches, the huntsman remains completely motionless. This is a magnificent example of evolutionary gigantism, a phenomenon where isolated species grow to unprecedented proportions due to a lack of traditional predators. The huntsman does not spin webs. Instead, it relies on supreme stealth and explosive hydraulic power. Its 8 incredibly sensitive eyes cluster together, maximizing the absorption of the dim ambient light. For now, it conserves its vast energy reserves in a state of predatory patience, waiting for the shadows of evening to return. By mid-morning, the diffused, flat daylight fully pierces the doline, triggering a surge of ecosystem vitality. A stunning bamboo longhorn beetle emerges to bask on a decaying yellow stalk. Its immense segmented antennae, often exceeding the length of its own body, are specialized instruments designed to detect the faint pheromones of distant mates and the precise chemical decay of its preferred bamboo host. Below the basking beetle, the dense foliage transforms into a bustling construction site. The long-jawed orb weaver, an architectural genius of the arthropod world, meticulously extrudes liquid silk from the spinnerets at the rear of its abdomen. Upon contact with the air, this liquid protein crystallizes into a fiber proportionally stronger than steel. The spider utilizes complex geometric calculations, plucking the radial threads to test their absolute tension, crafting an invisible and deadly snare suspended above the ferns. As the morning progresses toward 9:15, the incredible diversity of invertebrate armor and weaponry is put on full display. A heavy-bodied jewel beetle navigates a rotting log, its exoskeleton flashing in iridescent hues of green and copper. This stunning structural coloration is a marvel of optical physics, created by microscopic layers of chitin that reflect specific wavelengths of light. This armor is so incredibly durable that the aggressive snapping mandibles of a passing weaver ant patrol cannot even scratch its surface. Yet, true power in the micro-world often belongs to the swift. At 10 o'clock, the ferocious tiger beetle begins its patrol. This insect is one of the fastest terrestrial runners relative to its body size on the planet. Its long, spurred legs provide explosive traction, allowing it to sprint at such blinding velocities that its small brain literally cannot process visual information fast enough. It must sprint, stop entirely to recalculate the position of its prey, and then sprint again. When it successfully intercepts a frantic weaver ant, its massive sickle-shaped jaws overlap with devastating, lethal precision. Equally terrifying is the emergence of the Vietnamese centipede at 10:45. Unlike the herbivorous millipede, this elongated myriapod is a highly aggressive, venomous carnivore. It undulates through the leaf litter, driven by dozens of sharply hooked yellow legs. Its most formidable weapons are its forcipules, modified front legs that have evolved into powerful, venom-injecting pincers capable of subduing prey much larger than itself. Meanwhile, camouflaged perfectly against the white fungal threads of a decaying log, an assassin bug waits in total silence. By actively covering its spiked thorax with environmental detritus, it achieves absolute invisibility. Its specialized raptorial front legs are cocked tight, ready to deploy in a fraction of a second to seize any wandering insect that misjudges its proximity. When the sun reaches its zenith around 11:30, the intense midday humidity settles over the doline. The micro-world enters a profound lull, dictated by the absolute necessity of temperature and moisture regulation. Arthropods do not breathe through lungs. Rather, they exchange gases through tiny portholes along their abdomens called spiracles. We can observe the gentle, rhythmic pulsing of a resting weaver ant's translucent abdomen as it pumps vital oxygen through its tracheal system while seeking refuge beneath a broad, shaded fern leaf. Nearby, the massive giant millipede conserves its internal moisture by rolling into a tight, impenetrable defensive spiral. Its overlapping dorsal plates, known as tergites, form an armored dome that protects its vulnerable underbelly and delicate legs from both the drying air and opportunistic scavengers. Deep within the darkest limestone crevices, the giant huntsman spider flattens its colossal hairy body against the cool, damp rock. Lethargic and silent, it enters a state of minimal metabolic activity, its sensory setae swaying ever so slightly in the subtle subterranean drafts. As the afternoon light softens into warm, muted tones past 2 o'clock, the ecosystem slowly stirs back to life. The tiger beetle resumes its relentless stop-and-go pursuit across the dry soil, utilizing its unparalleled stereoscopic vision. High above, on a dripping stalactite, the pale cave cricket ascends vertical rock faces using elongated, heavily spiked hind legs to seek out cooler air currents. By 4 o'clock, the long-jawed orb weaver can be seen expertly repairing its geometric web, producing fresh beads of highly adhesive silk to replace strands damaged by the midday winds. High above the cave floor, beneath the vast limestone arches, an extraordinary congregation begins to form. A chaotic, swirling swarm of delicate fungus gnats takes to the air. The males utilize highly specialized feathery antennae to detect the microscopic chemical trails of females in the humid environment, engaging in a frenzied, chaotic mating dance that signals the approaching twilight. By 5 o'clock in the evening, true dusk descends upon the doline. The vibrant green cave moss is bathed in dusty blue and orange hues, casting long, dramatic shadows across the microscopic landscape. The male cave cricket, perched prominently on a high ridge, begins his nightly acoustic performance. He does not possess vocal cords. Instead, he produces his resonant chirp through stridulation. By rubbing specialized, ridged acoustic files located on the edges of his translucent wings against each other at incredible speeds, he amplifies his mating song into the darkening cavern. However, in the subterranean jungle, broadcasting one's location is a highly dangerous endeavor. The vibration of the cricket's song inevitably attracts the attention of the nocturnal hunters. The assassin bug, utilizing the rapidly fading light, executes a flawless ambush. Exploding from its dusty camouflage, it seizes a rushing weaver ant in its spiked forelegs. With lethal efficiency, it drives its sharp, specialized rostrum deep into the soft, vulnerable joints of the ant's armor. It instantly injects a potent cocktail of proteolytic enzymes, which effectively liquefy the prey's internal organs, allowing the bug to consume a nutrient-rich, fluid meal. Meanwhile, the long-jawed orb weaver's patience is finally rewarded. A navigational error by an adult fungus gnat sends the frantic insect crashing into the invisible, sticky radial threads. Moving with terrifying grace, the spider instantly pinpoints the exact location of the struggle through the web's vibrations, rushing forward to shroud its victim in a binding sheet of silk. As the digital clock strikes 6:15, absolute darkness claims the depths of Hang Son Doong. Now, the undisputed apex predator emerges from its lair. The giant huntsman spider creeps across the flat limestone boulders with fluid, terrifying elegance. It possesses heavily padded feet lined with thousands of microscopic hairs that absorb its massive weight, allowing it to move in absolute silence. It freezes mid-step, lifting its front legs into the air to read the subtle chemical and physical disturbances in the darkness. Hydraulic pressure builds immensely within its dense hind legs, preparing the creature to launch its body across the moss in a completely inescapable, venomous strike against an unwary cave cricket. Yet, the most profound spectacle of the subterranean world occurs just before 7 o'clock. High upon the pitch-black ceiling of the cave, hundreds of tiny, brilliant blue lights begin to ignite. This is not the glow of minerals, but a mesmerizing biological phenomenon. These are the larvae of the fungus gnats, hanging suspended in the dark. Through a complex chemical reaction combining luciferin and the enzyme luciferase, the tail ends of these predatory worms produce a continuous, cold blue bioluminescence. They lower incredibly thin, translucent threads of silk dotted with perfectly spaced droplets of sticky mucus. In the absolute darkness, these glowing blue lights perfectly mimic a starry night sky. The adult gnats, instinctively drawn to what they perceive as the open night sky, fly upwards by the thousands, only to become hopelessly entangled in the deadly, glowing snares. As the giant huntsman spider stands silhouetted upon a towering stalagmite, clutching its evening meal, it surveys a kingdom illuminated entirely by biological starlight. It is a breathtaking, beautiful, and utterly ruthless ecosystem. The microscopic inhabitants of Hang Son Doong cave demonstrate a level of evolutionary genius that challenges our very understanding of life on Earth. In this hidden, lost world below, survival is dictated by armor, venom, speed, and the deceptive, mesmerizing beauty of a subterranean, starry sky.